Shida tu kidogo kidogo yenye bado tuko naye ni low turnout, bado watu hawajajitokeza kupiga kura. Alafu kuna areas ndogo ndogo tu tumesikia kuna furuku, lakini tunashukuru pia security agencies kwa sababu tumesikia wameanza ku respond kwa hiyo maneno ya insecurity ilikuwa imefanyika kwingine kwa polling stations zingine. Leo hii naomba watu wa Emurua Dikirr wajitokeze kwa wingi na wafanye uamuzi kwa kuchagua mbunge wao ambaye wanaenda kuwakilisha wao kwa huko.
Ladies and gentlemen, voting is currently underway in Emurua Dikirr Constituency in Narok County, and the day has already turned volatile. Latest developments from the ground right now is that at Chelemei Polling Station in Kapsasian Ward, supporters of President William Ruto United Democratic Alliance and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's Democracy for Citizens Party clashed outside the station during the course of voting today. At least one person has been injured in that confrontation. Beyond the physical clash, DCP supporters reported being attacked while making their way to polling stations. Following that, DCP party agents were initially denied access into polling stations, a direct violation of Kenya's electoral regulations, before interventions eventually allowed them entry. To understand why the agents' denial is serious, you have to understand what party agents actually do. They are not ceremonial. There are constitutional mechanisms for protecting the integrity of the vote. Their presence inside polling stations ensure that ballot papers are handled correctly, voters are properly identified, and the counting process is transparent and independently witnessed. The agents from any party are blocked from entering a station for however long. It creates a window of vulnerability in the process. It is a race, this closely contested and this nationally watched. That window is not a minor procedural issue. It is a fundamental breach. The contest at the center of all of this is between UDA's David Kipsang Keter, popularly known as Dollarline, and DCP's Vincent Rotich. This by-election was triggered by the death of three-term MP Johana Ng'eno, who died in a plane crash on February 28, 2026. Ng'eno was the only member of parliament Emurua Dikirr has ever known as a firebrand since its establishment, who has built his political identity, resistance from political establishment. Nationally, this race is the first direct electoral confrontation between President Ruto and former Deputy President in Rift Valley soil. Gachagua, since the bitter fallout with President William Ruto, he has been campaigning in Ruto's UDA-based Rift Valley. And if Gachagua wins, it proves that Gachagua's political organization has moved from rallies and rhetoric speech into actual parliamentary representation. That is precise why what happened at Chelemei Polling Station today carries the weight that it does. In a race where both sides understands the national implication of the results, the pressure to control the outcome on the ground is real. The attack on DCP supporters heading to polling station, combined with the initial denial of agent access, follows a pattern that Kenyan elections have seen before. where the stake of winning translate into interference at the most local or vocal level of the democratic process. The IEBC opened its polling station at 6 a.m. this morning across 94 polling stations in 4 wards that include Mogondo, Kapsasian, Ilkeri, and Ololmasani ward. The commission stated that the time lost at opening would be recovered at closing, and that all voters in the queue by 5 p.m. would be allowed to vote. That commitment now needs to be matched with feasible decisive actions on the ground, particularly in Kapsasian Ward, where the clash and the agent's denial both occurred. Meanwhile, tension had already been reported as from Wednesday night at Emurua Dikirr shopping center, where a group of young men was seen moving together carrying batons. That pre-election tension carried directly into today's event at Chelemei. The warning signs were there before a single ballot was casted. What the IEBC and security agencies do before polling closes at 5 p.m. will determine whether this election stands as credible democratic exercise. Ensuring DCP agents are present and protected in every affected station and publicly accounting for what happened at Chelemei, those are the minimal steps required before this day ends. Beyond the immediate security situation, the political consequence of today's events are already forming. If DCP demonstrate with evidence that its supporters were attacked and its agents were blocked, that narrative becomes the defining story of this election, regardless of who wins the final count. A disputed results in Emurua Dikirr does not stay in Narok County. It moves directly into the 2027 campaign conversations about whether Kenya's electoral institution can be trusted to manage a general election between these same two political forces. Polling stations close at 5 p.m. today. Results are expected tonight, but what already happened at Chelemei tells us something important. In Kenyan politics, how an election is conducted is inseparable from whether its outcomes is accepted. And today, the conduct in Emurua Dikirr is already under serious scrutiny and observation from another part of the country.